Morning. This is Tuesday morning. This is my breakfast this morning. These are cottage cheese pancakes, and they kind of came out like crepes. This is just 2 eggs and like a half a cup of egg whites and 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese, which is not low fat, and I just kind of blended it up, and then it makes these beautiful little crepes. I do have like 2 teaspoons of cream cheese in here, not fat-free, and some of my blueberry compote in there with them, and except these are just rolled up here. And then I'm going to use some sugar-free syrup on there, not a whole lot. I have half of a grapefruit this morning, which is about 8 grams of carbs, but it's got a lot of fiber in it. I'm trying to work a little bit more fiber in just to keep things running smooth, and I'm going to top it off with a little cashew milk. And a couple of tablespoons of psyllium husk, again, to make sure that the pipes are running clean. So, TMI, but very necessary when you're on keto. This is my lunch. I'm having a taco salad, and I'm having romaine with the higher fat ground beef, which is a 75% lean. And then I have a 1/4 cup of this cheese on top, and then 2 tablespoons of this salsa, which is 1 carb, and then I have 2 tablespoons of this mayonnaise. It's ranch that I made myself. It's not mayonnaise, it's dressing, but it has olive oil mayo as the base, so I want to make sure there's no sugar or corn syrup or anything like that in there. And so 2 tablespoons of this is going to be, gosh, I don't remember how many points. I think it's like 4. Anyway, all in all, I added everything up, and this is, I know it's a little high, but it's 13 points because it is a high-fat meal. Okay, so there's that. Everybody, okay, so another day down, or not down, I should say. I weighed this morning, and looks like I'm up 0.4, which doesn't really worry me since the last 2 days. Now, after my last video where I came down 4.2, I believe I came down yet another pound. That was Monday. Monday I was down another pound. Okay, but today I'm up 0.4. All right, so I'm not worried about it. I just figured, it's a little water or something like that. Or I'm thinking perhaps I've just had a few too many nuts yesterday. So I'm going to back off a little bit on that. I'm going to really watch it. And when I say I have a handful of nuts, I don't have like a serving of nuts, because like a serving of nuts is like 23 almonds, and I would have typically like, 5 or 6 almonds, and that to me is like a handful to me, and then I'm good. But still, I made that mug bread. It's almond meal. It's almond meal and coconut flour together, but it's and you use butter in it, and so to me, it's like, because you're adding this fat and it's nuts, and it's just like, but at the same time, you're doing keto, you're not doing regular bread, you're not adding the spaghetti, you're not adding the oatmeal, you're not having these other things. And so it kind of balances a bit, but at the same time, I have found, and what I'll do is I'll make that mug bread, which is really cool. In fact, I'm going to see if I can put a link below into the keto mug bread. It's like a 3-minute bread that you can make in the microwave, and it is really good. It's amazing, but it does make kind of a thick little loaf. And so what I do is I cut it into those 4 circles that I've showed you. And then I'll eat like 1, maybe 2 slices within the day, and then the other 2 I'll give to my husband. And so, we share, so I don't eat the whole mug bread myself. But what I've found is that when I do have breads that are made from almond flour, that it does tend to halt my weight loss. And so I think I'm going to start backing away from having that so much. I've just relied on that for that time that I'm looking for something. I'm looking for those crackers. I'm looking for, you know what I mean, a little breading or something like that. And that has helped. I don't know if I'm going to do so much of that, you know what I mean, now, but I'm going to try to back away from that. Now, next week, I am going to be foregoing my morning coffee. I told my husband, please, you know, I love when he brings me coffee in the morning. He's so precious. But I said, please don't bring it to me next week because I'm going to be intermittent fasting in the morning, and I probably won't eat until lunchtime. So I just want to work some of that into what I'm doing, see what that does. And then in addition to that, I think I'm going to be backing away from, I don't have so much dairy right now, but I'm going to take the dairy out next week. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. Because just to see what that does too, because I have had a little bit, and just in case that does give me a few little complications here and there, and so I'm going to see, you know, hopefully maybe, yeah, dairy can halt weight loss for a lot of people as well. So taking, you know, back away from the nuts, still have the nuts, but back away some. Take the dairy out, add intermittent fasting next week, and of course still doing the no junk food diet, and see what happens, right? And still doing the keto thing. So I'm still trying. I've got October 20th on the brain, and fitting into that dress as well as I can. So I wanted to very quickly tackle the pork rind issue, because I had a viewer who I really appreciate, who had mentioned that she felt that the pork rind should go into the no junk food palette, right? And typically I would agree with that. I would normally agree with that if I were on a low fat diet, and normally when I'm just doing straight Weight Watchers, you know, it's just like, no, I usually don't use pork rinds because they're too high, or their fat content is just too high. But if I'm doing keto, I look at it totally differently, and that's why we've allowed pork rinds in the realm of our, you know, of our food choices, because of having the flexibility of the pork rinds, according to, you know, I've been a long fan of Dr. Eric Westman, who deals with diabetes and treating people and helping them with weight loss and stuff, from Duke University. He's just a brilliant doctor, and he really knows his keto, and he has a very famous page 4 food list. One of the things that he talks about is pork rinds actually being on the okay list. Many keto followers will find that they use pork rinds, pork rind dust for breading meats or other things, even for baking and things like that. And they really use it, and it actually fits in within the realms of some of the foods they can have. And so the carb count, the fat count, everything just fits right in. So it's one of those things that I think, yes, it's in the chip aisle, but the flexibility of it to use on other types of diets is very useful. And so we have let it in case we needed to rely on it for anything like that. It has been, I will say, it has been very, very helpful for my husband, because even though I don't look at it as, oh, let me sit on the couch and eat a bag of pork rinds, you know, for chips, I think it can be very dangerous, because also I think that it does have such a high amount of protein in it. You don't want to eat so many of those pork rinds that you actually get, you know, a heightened insulin response because your protein is so high, right? Because this is a moderate protein, high fat, and very low carb way of eating for the time being for me. But my husband, who is in love with chips, he's finding it very hard to not have that during this time. And so every day at lunch, I give him about an ounce in a Ziploc baggie, and I pack it with his lunch. And so that really helps him. I mean, I'll be talking to him and I hear him, all of a sudden he's into his bag of pork rinds, and I'm like, okay, he really does rely on that to help him feel like, you know, mentally, like he's not really suffering, right? Letting go of the junk foods. And so, yes, I know typically I would say it would fit within those realms, but I appreciate the fact that that is a type of a chip, so to speak, that has flexibility because of the macros that it contains. So anyway, I know not everybody's going to agree with me on that, and that's totally okay. But I've got to do this the way that is going to work best, because I need to survive until the 20th, and I'm going to do that as well as I can. So anyway, other than that, doing very well. I needed to drink a little more water, I think, yesterday, and I'm on it today. A lot of bathroom visits, that gets kind of tiring, you know what I mean? And I mean, it's just, especially when you're like on the road or you're in the store or something like that. So I got to take the kids to IKEA this morning. And I'll talk about that in the next video. So I'm going to let you go. I love you guys a lot, but I wanted to check in, and I'll see you tomorrow or later today. Bye.